least play dumb. It's cool not to know everything. It's cool to be a screw up. Face it, look at Obama. How many times has this guy screwed up? He doesn't even know his own numbers. Maybe because he's making them up on the fly, but it'll cost. It'll cost the same, but not more than, talking about health care. It's not going to. Now, wait a minute now. I can't hear myself think with you talking over there. Now, it's going to cost. He had no clue. But that was cool. Oh, man, he's just like me, man. The president's just like me. And most people couldn't relate to Romney. Especially, he worked his way up? Well, who does that? Yeah. Now we got kids that look, the Occupy Wall Street gang. You tell them, well, there are no jobs for me. Well, no, there actually are some jobs out there. No, it's not my salary range. Well, what's your salary range? And they tell you a salary range, and it's usually like six figures. And you're thinking, wait a minute. You have no experience. I've got education. Well, bullshit on the education. You have no experience. Experience is the best educator. Do you think I'm going to pay some person who's got a bachelor's in business management, which is a bullshit degree in my book, and then give him a six-figure salary to do what? He doesn't know anything. But it's not cool for some reason to start at the bottom. Well, everybody's got to start somewhere, and most of us, unless you start your own company, you're going to start at the bottom, even with a degree. We have to make that cool. What's more romantic? Hell, I mean, let's face it, social network. Look at it, about Facebook. Well, what was the whole thing? The romantic thing, Zuckerberg was this awkward kind of guy in college that he spent hours and hours in his room and with a couple of his buddies just writing code, and they just kept at it, and then it started to grow and grow and grow. It's they presented it kind of a romantic. Look, he didn't even have a job. He started at the bottom, but that's cool. Well, we don't make sure that people understand that he wasn't earning anything. Some of these angel investors were telling, well, you know what? We're not going to pay you jack until you do this and this. We get this notion that, okay, well, yeah, they had to do all that work. Zuckerberg and his team, they had to do all that work in order to build Facebook, but it happened so fast. No, it didn't happen fast. It didn't. It took a few, in terms of business, I guess it did, because it didn't take years and years and decades, but it didn't happen overnight. But that's not how the story gets translated into reality. Now, somehow, we on the conservative side, without changing our conservative message, we have to make it palatable. We have to make it more romantic, more interesting. We do. Or else we're going to continue to lose. We're going to lose. Plain and simple. This past election was a glaring example of that. I mean, we couldn't take the Senate. Why? I mean, come on. Scott Brown, not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination in Massachusetts, a moderate's moderate, if you will, defeated by a total left-wing nut job. And not only is she a lying nut job, but her own college called her out. Harvard. And she still won. Because she painted Scott Brown as out of the loop, as some, typical white guy that didn't get it. And all Scott Brown came back with was trying to get people on the facts. He didn't try to move anybody emotionally. He didn't try to make himself seem cool and understandable. He was just Scott Brown. Well, I'm sorry, folks, that isn't going to cut it anymore. Charlie Bass in my state. No, Charlie wasn't the perfect candidate. There is some stuff that he did in his years down in Washington, D.C. that rightfully so. He probably, maybe not get elected. But losing to Annie Custer, this woman swore, used the F-bomb on camera towards a potential constituent. She shoved a person, a reporter, shoved the camera in his face. This woman was mean and nasty. But her television commercials, her radio commercials, they painted Charlie Bass as this lying, greedy, old, stodgy white guy. And all Charlie could do was come back, well, Annie cusses and curses and has a temper. Well, that's cool, Charlie. By today's standards, that's cool. Watch TV. Really, look, is it time to panic? Frankly, yes. It is time to panic. It's time to panic in such a way that we begin to understand and realize that we need to change. We need to change our tactics. And we need to get on the other side of radical. We need to strategize. They want to be radical on the left. We need to be radical on the right in a good way. And there is a way to do that. Because, folks, if we don't, you've got two possible choices in 2016. Either Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton as president. Now, I don't know about you, but 8 years of Obama is going to be devastating enough for this country. Do you want another 4 or 8 of a Biden or Clinton? It'll be all over. That's enough to scare the hell out of me. Yeah, it's time to panic. It's not time to abandon ship yet, but it sure as hell is time to panic. And frankly, I think that, we're even seeing this from Europe. We really, to think about it, folks. I mean, the stock market just dumped over 300 points today on the news of Obama's win. I don't know how else to say it, but the rest of the world is not now Putin is over there doing cartwheels. China's kind of smiling, and North Korea is happy as a pig in poke, and Ahmadinejad in Iran, he's having a good old time. They're having a party, but the rest of the world is, not so happy pretty much. And I think the Dow under fears, Europe is like, oh my God, well, if the United States does a Greece, we're sunk. And that's what's going to happen if we keep up with this debt. We're over 16 trillion now. I mean, can you imagine another 21 trillion? What are they estimating? If we keep going at this pace that Obama wants, we're going to be at $23 trillion in debt. We can't as a nation withstand that. And now Puerto Rico seems to want to be a 51st state. You know why they want to be a 51st state? Because they want to be a part of the gravy train now. They want to be a part of it. They see all the wonderful benefits that full-fledged statehood is getting. They want the gravy train. Right? You know what? If you were to look at our friends to the north, I mean, if we hadn't closed our borders because of 9/11, I think Canada would be moving to close the borders now. because it has gotten to a point where the United States has moved, socially speaking, to the left of Canada. And I think that scares the hell out of them up there. They were trying to warn us, don't do this Obamacare thing because it's Canadian care. We don't particularly like it too much, but we're stuck with it. And you guys can still, get. But now we got it. And now it ain't going to be repealed. It's going to be like Social Security. We're stuck with it for a very, very long time, probably until this nation comes to an end. We get the government that we deserve, folks. And this is what we voted for, so if you vote for it, you deserve it. But plain and simple. Alan West is projected to lose his House seat down in Florida, and I say it's just racism. People didn't vote for Representative West. It's racism. He's a black guy. He's more African American than Obama. I mean, folks, think about this for a second. Alan West loses. A guy who goes to basically a mental institution, Jesse Jackson Jr., wins. How does that happen? Jesse Jackson Jr. wins, but Alan West loses and nobody calls, racism? But anyway, NBC News projected the race for Murphy, his challenger, with 99% of the vote. He was up by some 1,500 votes. Now, the Floridian freshman quickly gained a national profile with his scorched earth rhetoric against President Obama and his initiatives. He rankled many earlier this year when he claimed that dozens of congressional Democrats were closet communists. Comments he repeatedly stood by. Well, they are. They admit it. They're card-carrying members. But I guess he wasn't supposed to say it. It was supposed to be on the down low, on the hush-hush. But look, he wasn't making stuff up. He was showing us the facts. He had the documentation. Yeah, but that wasn't cool. Wasn't cool. I don't. I know some people are going to say, well, Rod Allen West was kind of cool. I know. And he was black too, or is black, African American. But his message wasn't cool. He wasn't cool enough. I mean, what you don't talk about liberal Democrats as being card-carrying members of the Communist Party, even though their signatures are on the cards, and he showed that. But that's not cool. You got to keep that stuff in the. See, he can't bring it out. He's got to let somebody else see. Alan West failed because he brought this stuff to light. He didn't let somebody else bring it to light and then sort of let it slide under the radar until it festered, until these guys couldn't do anything about it. He just, up front, his Marine training. Boom. I'm going to tell it up front. No, he had to be more, he's got to have more finesse. He's got to be cool about it. Let somebody else do the dirty work in that. Look, Clinton learned that. He learned how to let other people around him do his dirty work for him. Obama did that. So even when Obama said something really stupid, which he did a lot, he had a lot of capital in the bank with these people that he was talking to, so they just, oh, but you're so wonderful. Alan West didn't have enough capital in the bank because he did the dirty work himself. He should have let somebody else do it. We got to learn from our mistakes, folks. Learn them well.